For this next book and yarn box, we'll be reading one of my highly anticipated newer releases. Hello, my name is Emily Crow from The Cozy Crow, and welcome to my YouTube channel, and welcome to another book and yarn box vlog. This one is from Yarnaceous Fibers, and this is a book that I've been looking forward to reading, and I've honestly prevented myself from reading it because I wanted to read it in conjunction with the box itself. I've been really excited about this book. The book we are reading is A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana. I really loved the first book that she came out with over here, but that was a witchy rom-com style book. It was very heartfelt. I really loved getting to know the characters, and I loved how relatable the struggles were for the most part. And I'm really excited to read this next book. I honestly don't know anything about it other than it's in the same kind of low fantasy world, like it's in our world, but with some witches intermixed. And I'm really excited to dive right in. I need something uplifting and cozy, and I think that this is going to do the trick. If you have not watched any of my book box vlogs previously, just so you know, I have a whole playlist here. I've got lots of book box vlogs here on my channel from multiple yarn dyers, and I'm always looking for more. So if you see any other book inspired yarn, send me that way. But this box is by Yarnaceous Fibers. When signing up for Maggie's book boxes, you know what the book is, you see the color palette, and you get to know a little bit about the project that's included. What I love about these boxes is that you already have a pattern included in the box that matches the yarn that is included in the box, and then there's a whole bunch of other goodies. Each of the different packages is labeled with page numbers so that as you're reading the book that inspired this box, you'll be opening goodies along the way, and it's just a really fun way to experience reading this book and also having all sorts of little goodies and having a project as well. Some other book boxes don't have a pattern in mind or have like one skein of fingering weight yarn every month, like a club, but this is a little bit different in that you already have a project in mind that's included in the box. So it's nice and like all-inclusive, I guess. If you don't want to have to come up with a project every time you have a book and yarn box, this is a good option for you. So let's dive right in, kind of organize the goodies in here, see if anything isn't labeled that we can open right away, and get started on this book. I'm filming this while my baby is sleeping, while dad is holding him, and so things are going to be a little messy. Some things might feel a little bit unfinished, but that's because that's how life is right now. And that is okay. I'm really excited to dive into this box, and I was able to get the audiobook and kind of line it up with opening this box, hence why I also kind of waited a little bit of time. I was hoping to get the audiobook so I could plow through this because I love my audiobooks. I do a lot of my reading on audiobooks. So I've got the audiobook ready on my Libby app. So we'll be listening to this book over the next few days and opening lots of packages. Again, kind of plowing through this because I don't have a lot of time to sit down and read right now. I've got a 5-year-old and a newborn. So we're going to be listening as we are going on walks, as we are driving, as we are knitting, and hopefully getting a chance to also work on this project while I'm listening to the book, depending on when the pattern and the yarn is made available to me as I open the packages. But either way, you'll see me work on this project as well, even if you have to see me finish it after I've finished the book already. But that is all included in this vlog. So let's take a look at the packages. All right. Ooh. Okay, so looking at my order slip, I have an extra Luke Larson set, but I purchased the Sarah Swan aesthetic. So it sounds like those are our two main characters. I purchased one set to be opened with the box, and I have another set because I wanted to be able to sample all the options. So as part of the Luke Larson set, we've got, looks like 250-gram skeins and a mini. Luke Larson, Gray Manor, and the mini is Black Heart. And all of these are in her Bronto DK base, which is an 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon. I don't actually remember what the pattern is, so we'll find that out together. Some kind of accessory is what I'm feeling from that. But let's organize this box. All right, we've got our box organized. I'll probably throw these other yarns in on this side. I don't necessarily have a plan for those, but we'll see if maybe I'd want to do something with them as I go through this box. But we've got chapter 6, page 64, so that'll happen pretty quick. Chapter 17, page 160. Chapter 20, page 191. Chapter 22, page 207. Chapter 23, page 218. Chapter 26, page 255. And chapter 35, page 318. And what's really cool about these packages is that they have the chapter, the page, and the little quote that inspired the specific thing in this package. So you can see the connection there, which I really love. Maggie does a great job at organizing these packages and making them really intentional and making every box a little bit different so you're not getting the same kind of product every time. And I absolutely love that. So I've done this box quite a few times and I have a couple more kind of stashed away that I hope to get to soon. So for example, I've gotten a couple tea strainers in the like 6 boxes I've done from Maggie, and they are from different companies, they're different styles. So they're really nice if you are open to getting some random mystery items and just knowing they're really intentionally picked. Maggie likes to choose from small women-owned businesses and support those through these boxes. And if you are open to, if you don't like something, rehoming it, gifting it to somebody else, these would make really good gifts. So that if, for example, you don't like tea and there's tea included in the box, guess what? You can give it to someone. And I am totally fine having mystery items and finding new homes for things that don't suit me. And so this box works really well for me. If that's not you, you can live vicariously through me if you don't feel like taking the plunge and getting a box if you're not sure what's inside it. But sometimes these boxes are still in stock on Maggie's website, and I always make sure when this video comes out, if that is the case, I let you know so that you can check it out if you are interested in this box and there is still some in stock on her website. Now that that's organized, let's get started on this book and see if we can get to chapter 6 pretty soon in our listening.
Penguin Random House Audio presents A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana. Read for you by Samara McLaren.
It is late, it is just about bedtime, but I wanted to check in with you as I have read some of A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping, but we have surpassed the page to open this book. So the very first package is chapter 6, page 64, Retrieve His Sister from the Roof of the Guild's Greenhouse. So at this point in the book, we are, 60-ish pages in. We've gotten to know Sarah Swan. We had kind of a flashback to the original incident that caused her to lose most of her magic, lose her standing within the Witches Guild, things like that. So we've gotten to see a little bit of background about Sarah, and we've jumped forward now 10 or 15 years into the future past that incident, and nothing's really changed. She's still not welcome into the Witches Guild. She still has only a flicker of her magic compared to prior to this incident where she resurrected her aunt that had randomly died in the garden, was successful, also resurrected a decomposing chicken. So she had plenty of magic, but she kind of overdid it. Now she only has a little tiny bit of her magic left. She's trying to figure out a way to replenish her magic that has not returned to her life after this length of time. She owns this inn that has a little bit of magic kind of sprinkled throughout. The really cool part about this inn that she owns is that she cast a spell once when she was younger that made it so only people who really need to come to the inn come. So people who are desperate and need somewhere safe to be, people who aren't necessarily looking for the inn itself, but for the kind of experience that this inn would provide, kind of stumble upon it. So now, instead of getting some grumpy customers occasionally, everyone is really grateful, everyone is really kind, everyone is really adding to the experience of running this inn. So it's a very interesting spell at hand. At this point in the story, like I said, we've gotten to know Sarah Swan, and we have just run into Luke Larson, who I'm assuming will be the love interest. And apparently he knows Sarah, though we don't know how. Maybe just being a magical person in general. We are starting to get to know Luke, but we really don't know him as a character. We know that he takes care of his sister Posey, who is autistic but is also a witch. So she has a hard time understanding the implications of using her magic in front of other people. So he's kind of like picking up the pieces after her. He seems a little overprotective to me, but we'll kind of see how his characterization is explored throughout this book. But now that we have kind of like an intro on what's going on, let's open this package. Feels like a mini skein of yarn. Ooh, this color is fun. This is called Guild's Greenhouse, and I'll definitely show this in better lighting tomorrow. But it's like a, almost like a candy green. It's a very interesting emeraldy, teal-y type of color. Very cute. I like it. Actually matches the cover really, really well. So that's fun. I have continued listening to this book. I love listening to audiobooks because I can get through them a lot faster than if I do an ebook or a physical book. So we are well on our way to getting to the next package. So hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to talk about more of what's going on in this book. We'll be able to open some more packages, see some more goodies, maybe even get started on the pattern. I would love to be able to start this pattern pretty soon. I needed something to work on while I was listening to this book, is a sock test for my friend Jessica. So this is the Stick Together socks that is in testing at the moment, but should be done and published and ready to purchase by the time this video comes out, so that'll be linked down below. But it's this fun little texture. Very easy to read the knitting, very easy to work on this texture, definitely like a vanilla plus type of a pattern. So this has been really nice. I did start the heel, so I'm making some good progress. Until I have another project to work on from this box, I'll be probably working on these because these are really easy to work on while I listen to the book. I'm gonna go to bed. I will see you tomorrow and hopefully make some more progress on listening and hopefully getting to see what pattern is included in this box so that maybe we can cast on soon. We are making breakfast burritos, doing some meal prep too. So while I'm doing this meal prep, letting the sausage crisp up a little bit, I can open my next package. I love that for audiobooks, you can multitask. So it was so nice that I could do a little bit of reading while I was prepping some dinner and just having some like grown-up time away from kids. So nice. Now I can open this. This is for chapter 17, page 160. The box thing is a bit weird. Nicholas headed turning pink. So we've gotten to know Luke a little better. We've gotten to know Sarah a little bit. Luke has been, I don't know, kind of volunteered to help Sarah to get her magic back. He's kind of been set up to go to the inn, apparently, and now he's is still kind of lingering because he's kind of drawn to Sarah and wants to be involved, kind of. Like, he's not quite sure what he wants, but he is staying longer with his sister at the inn, and he is helping her. He helped to translate the spell, and he's helping her to think outside the box for how to accomplish the spell so that she can get her magic back. I am not like totally convinced on him as a character. We haven't gotten a lot depth-wise in him, but I would love to learn more about him. The others staying at the inn that are non-magical have revealed that they actually kind of knew that there was magic afoot. So let's see what's in here. Oh, cute. For Fox's sake, cross-stitch mini kit. The keyring, cute. We will have to work on this. It's nice because we haven't gotten the pattern yet. So next time I listen to the book, I can work on this cute little cross-stitch pattern and make this adorable keychain while I am waiting to get to the pattern and actually cast on the pattern included. This is from the Crafty Kit Co. Adorable. hope you enjoyed last night's montage. I was able to get through like 3 or 4 packages because they were all within like 4 chapters of each other. So I was able to kind of batch my reading, I guess, and kind of get a lot done, which was really nice. So that was really satisfying to be able to listen to like an hour's worth of reading in my time. I got through a lot of packages, which was really satisfying. The one thing that I did not expect that I will show you is that I broke this little embroidery hoop. I was not gentle enough with it when I was like cleaning it off because it's laser cut. They recommend you clean it off so you don't get as much stuff on your embroidery piece, which I still got some gunk on my embroidery piece. So anyway, I'm just a beginner. It's fine. I used some E6000 to fix it, and I tried to kind of continue on with assembling and it wasn't working. I needed to let this glue to totally dry. And technically the E6000 isn't 100% set until like 24 hours, but I don't want to wait any longer. I'll just be really gentle. It seems like it's adhering though, and it's stuck. That was last night, so it's been sitting for a while. So I'm going to reassemble this, use more E6000 to glue the backing on, and get this all put together, and then I'll have my keychain done. We only have 2 more packages to go, and I've got about 2 hours left of the audiobook, so about 1 hour left of me time reading because I listen at 2 times speed. So we're still looking for chapter 26. Oh, I'm about to hit that, or I just hit that. And then chapter 35. So we're getting close. I'm a little sad that the pattern hasn't showed up yet, so I will have to work on this pattern after I'm totally done with the book. But that's okay. I will still complete it in this video, and I'm really excited to be able to cast on, hopefully today. So cute. Okay, we'll let that continue to dry. All right, time to open the next package. This is chapter 26, page 255. It's a strand of sunset. Something that I think is cool is that while they're looking for ingredients to make this restoration spell to bring back Sarah's magic, they have to think outside the box. And so while there's some more literal things that they could do to suit the needs of the spell, the things that are most powerful are the things that matter most to Sarah and that are most meaningful to her and are kind of like a play on words or an allusion to the actual ingredient that aren't like literally the ingredient that they need. So it's been kind of fun to see how they've figured that out. They ended up going to a guild event, kind of sneaking into a masquerade to try to steal something they thought they could use as an ingredient. They were found out, unfortunately. And so they were kind of back to the drawing board. And I think this is maybe the last ingredient that they need. They're getting really close. So I'm excited to see this restoration spell happen and see what happens to Sarah's magic as a result, kind of see if she becomes her full-fledged witchy self again, if she can take down the big bad witch who is all powerful in charge of the guild right now, all that stuff. This is a nice and cozy read. Definitely not as much world building as I would prefer, but I am enjoying it. I also wish there was a little bit more still with Luke. I'm just not quite getting connected with him and his character. I just wish there was more depth to him. He is not a shallow character, but we don't have a lot of details about him. So the way that he is written, the writing about him, feels incomplete, I guess, for what I'm looking for. It's definitely more of a Sarah heavy story. Let's see what's in here. It feels like yarn. Our last yarn. Ooh, cute, adorable. This is called Clemmy. Clemmy is a witch who accidentally turned herself into a fox years and years ago. She wants Sarah to get her powers back so she can restore Clemmy to her human body. That's for the fox, Clemmy. Okay, we've got 1 more package, and like I said, we've got just about 2 hours left of the audiobook, and so we're going to finish this and get to the last package, which should hold the pattern. I am so excited that we can hopefully finish this book today and get started on the pattern. I have no idea yet what it will be. I'm hoping it's an accessory, something small, quick, easy, just a nice palette cleanser of a project because I really need that. I finished that book and just in time because my library hold was running out. I had like 15 minutes left by the time I finished listening to the Libby version of this book, and I liked it. I will have to talk about my rating at the end of this video, so hang tight if you want to find out more. I will say also, I'm wearing my mic. I'm still getting used to having a new nice mic that I like the sound of, and so sorry for not wearing it for a lot of this video, but I'm wearing it now, and we are ready to open up our last package, which should contain the pattern. This is chapter 35, page 318, a spell she'd seen in a book one time, a spell for stealing magic with a vicious sting in its tail. I'm specifically wearing my mic right now because I've got baby on the floor in here making cute baby dinosaur noises, and then I've also got my daughter in the bathroom singing to herself. Hence why we have the mic. But let's see what's in this package and what kind of project we're gonna be making with this yarn. Ooh, we got a lot of goodies. We've got some cute stitch markers. We've got, looks like a cup of coffee or tea, probably tea because she likes drinking tea. We've got mushrooms. We've got an orange fox, which is so fun. We've got an apple, maybe. I don't really know what that's about. And then we've got storm clouds. Cute! Then we've got a bookmark from Auburn Row Designs. It says, Cauldrons Bubble, Pages Turn. This definitely fits the vibe of the book because it is witchy, but also very whimsical and cutesy. It's not like a gothic or a spooky type of witchy read. And we've got a pattern. It is Doodle Beanie 2 by Jamie Lomax of Pacific Knit Co. So we've got a download for that. There's a couple different charts that it recommends. You can have a fox from the Autumn 3 or Arctic chart. There's tea you can put in from the London chart, and magic and books from the Spellbound chart. What if I use all of these colors? I have to be a lot more creative with this as far as like color work and patterns and stuff. So I'm gonna be thinking about what I wanna do. I'll have to take a look at options, maybe what doodles I'll want to input from the doodles I already have. Okay, I have my yarn prepped and my needles prepped. I had to go looking for them. I had to steal the cord from this project. It's an Alaska hat. I'm just on the brim, so I've got a ways to go. And then I have this colorwork cowl for another book box that has been on the needles for a long time. I had to steal the needles from this one. So I'm leaving these two project bags out so I remember where I stole components from so I can add them back to the project that they need to be on. And I think we're ready to go. I also grabbed my ribbing needles, so I have those handy. I had extras of those. So let's cast this pattern on. All right, so we have finished the brim of our hat. I played around with the colors because in Maggie's little like pattern note, it's gotten crumbled in the bag. I think it's pulled from a different pattern, but it says do this color for this many rounds and this color for this many rounds. And while it doesn't match exactly what's in this kit, it sparked my imagination. So I wanted to play around with some multicolors in the brim, and I think it's really fun. I haven't done anything like this, and I am now ready. I think I just moved to the big needles. Yes, I'm on the big needles now, and I'm ready to do color work, but I wanted to pick a couple fun designs to include in the color work. This pattern itself that we get the base hat pattern. We don't get any of the doodles, but I have a whole bunch of doodle cards in here. So I'm gonna look through and maybe pick maybe 3 or 4 different doodles that I can do that I wanna do for this hat. And then we'll get started. I think first and foremost, because of what colors I have here, I think I wanna do a fox so that I can, so I can reintroduce the orange up here. But other than that, maybe some witchy things. I'm not sure. We'll have to take a look and see what we've got. Share with you the system that I've got. So I have these card holders. They're just like trading card holders, but you can slide the cards in. And I really like the doodle decks because then I can pull things out, rearrange them really easy visually compared to like purchasing the pattern, downloading it, printing it out, cutting all the doodles out, and then rearranging them. So I really like having the cards. So I also have these tabs, and I label which doodle deck it's from, whether it's from a half deck or a full deck, and then I can load the cards up into it, which is really fun and just makes this really accessible for me. I have completed one. This one is totally full, and so I am on my second card holder, but I have decided on these 3 cards. I think this is going to be plenty. So I'm going to do a fox from the autumn deck. I'm going to do some sparkling stars from the spellbound deck. And then I haven't quite decided, but I didn't really like any of the other witchy magical ones. So I might do this. It looks kind of like hot cocoa. Could be tea from the winter deck. This is an old deck, so I don't know if it's different than the current one that Jamie Lomax sells. Or maybe I'll do like the spell book. Haven't quite decided, but that will be my last doodle. So at least I know where to start so I can get started on the color work. One chart done. I decided instead of doing 3 color work, just do 2 color work, and I will duplicate stitch the tips of the ears and the little nose and eyes for these foxes. That's why they don't look quite like foxes, but then we're going to do some sparkles. I am thinking I might even use the black from the other color set to duplicate stitch, but I haven't decided. So we'll do that probably at the very end of the hat. But for right now, we'll just enjoy knitting. Cauldron is coming along. I have got just one more round left, and we're playing some major yarn chicken. Let's see if I make it. We made it! Let's talk about this book box. I love having these extra fun goodies that are unexpected, but yet are still tied in with this book that you're reading. So I really have a lot of fun with these when I open these book boxes. We have some laser cut stitch markers. That was actually the perfect amount that I needed in order to knit this hat, so that was really handy. And having the one that's in the orange instead of the wood was so helpful to have a beginning and round marker. So this actually was perfect for this project. This cute bookmark from Auburn Row Design. There was an adorable mini cross stitch kit. Cute. And I've actually already bought more cross stitch supplies because I really love doing this and I really want to do more cross stitch. So if you have any good recommendations for pattern designers or kit designers, let me know. A couple goodies from Three Sisters Apothecary, some lip balm and some soap. The scent is Ravenstein Apple Clove. And then this chocobar from Moonstruck. It's got some fun sprinkles in there. So again, lots of fun goodies. Sometimes there are bookish related goodies, sometimes there are yarn related things, but often there's some kind of treat or snack and some kind of body product, and it's just a nice variety. I like how Maggie loves to support smaller businesses, woman-owned businesses in these boxes, and it acquaints me with products and with businesses that I am not familiar with already, which is really fun. And it's just always fun to have extra little goodies included. And now this book. Now the book did not come in the box, but I already had a copy because I had been planning on reading this. But you know ahead of time when you purchase this box what the book is, so you can look at your library, find a cheaper option, maybe look secondhand. You have some choices, and I like that there is time to be able to do that. Sometimes with your library, you have to wait a long time, and so that makes it take a little longer to be able to open the box if you want to search your library for it. But a lot of these books are common enough that you can get them from your library, or you can find cheaper options like maybe an ebook or something that you can purchase if you do want to end up purchasing. I forgot my microphone. We carry on. but I already had a copy of this book. I was planning on buying it in the first place, so it just worked perfectly with this book box. But I have sourced a lot of books from these book boxes from my library. We read A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana, and I've looked, and she has some other published things too, but in more recent years, her most famous book that was a bestseller was The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, if you have seen that one. And so this is in the same world as that book, though completely different characters. It does involve the Witches Guild that is out in England as well. I really like this book. I will say I liked the previous book better. I rated that one a 5-star. This one I still rated a 4.5. I did really enjoy it. I love how this author includes diversity in more subtle ways, I guess. That's not the point of what she's writing. She's not writing about racism or about prejudices, but they are still sprinkled in the story because that is realistic for these types of characters of Indian descent living in England. I also really love how this author writes really emotionally mature and resilient female main characters that have often gone through some kind of trauma or difficult experience, but they are now on the other side of that, and they have a really healthy viewpoint on that circumstance, and they are also really healthy in their interactions with other people and their encouragement of other people. So I really love the emotional maturity that you see in this female main character. I also really liked following the plot. At the very beginning, you get introduced to Sarah as this really powerful witch who resurrects her aunt who just passed away in the garden, showing how powerful she is, but also the immediate consequences of losing most of her magic and getting kicked out of the Witches Guild. And so that beginning of the story, that premise, really hooked me in and made me interested to find out more about this character and her trajectory. And you jump forward in time about, I think, 10 or 15 years, I think about 15 years, because she was a teenager when that original incident happened. And you get to see where she's at now, and you get to see her experience as she's trying to restore her magic and the implications that that would have on the Witches Guild and other witches in the area. So I really, really liked following that plot. Some things that I didn't like as much, I didn't like the male main character as much. I had a couple of issues with him, I guess. I didn't appreciate how he limited his autistic sister in the way that he viewed her and the way that he tried to keep her safe. He did not let her grow as much, and she didn't seem as bothered by it. That was definitely a minor part of the story, but I was bothered by his interactions with her and how he felt the need to protect her instead of letting her spread her wings. I also didn't like his relationship with his parents, and I know that there was some strain there, but it felt like his trauma was given a lot of weight, even though his trauma was pretty minor. He still had a relationship with his parents, even if it wasn't a perfect relationship. He disagreed with his parents in some ways, especially how they treated his younger sister, but they were still involved, they still cared, and I didn't really connect with his version of the story. It felt like he was a little bit too anxious and uptight about something that, is not ideal and something worth working through, but not something that was super traumatic. I didn't like the weight of his trauma because it didn't feel proportionate to the circumstance at hand and the issues that he had faced. I liked in general this cast of characters, and especially the side characters. Clemmy the fox, we get the aunt, and we get a couple other people staying at this inn, and it was just a really nice little group, and it added some flavor to the story. I really enjoyed the side characters for the most part, though a couple of the residents at the inn felt a little bit maybe superfluous, but I didn't mind them being there. I just didn't see a purpose for them being there. And overall, I just love the wholesome and cozy and uplifting vibes of this book. I love having the magic thrown in, and especially the magic of the inn itself, that only people who really needed to be there and really appreciated being there would be allowed to go to the inn. And it was just a really good and positive feeling at the inn because of that magic. So definitely one I would recommend. I think I liked the first book better just because I liked the plot and the themes and the story and the characters just a little bit more. But I think that depending on what your preferences are, you might end up liking this book even more than the previous book. And let's talk about this pattern. It's a little bit crinkled from being in my project bag, but sometimes in this box we get the physical copy of the pattern as well as a digital download code, and sometimes we get just a digital download code, which is what we got this time. So we got a digital download code for the Vase Doodle Beanie 2 pattern by Jamie Lomax, and while I think this is a really fun idea, I didn't like as much that the doodles weren't as accessible. So if someone doesn't have any of the doodles already, they would have had to go and purchase more doodles or designs if they wanted to have doodles in their doodle beanie. And so I didn't really like that wasn't available, though I already had a lot of the doodle patterns in my Ravelry, and I have a bunch of the doodle deck cards in some binders. So I was able to sort through and look and pick a couple different motifs that I wanted in my hat, but I know not everyone can do that, and so I think that was maybe a miss in this pattern box. Though if you got this box and you decided not to make doodles and just do stripes or something else with the colors, let me know. But it's a bummer if you want to do doodles and you don't have the doodle patterns, if you just have the base hat pattern. I made this hat. It feels ginormous. I checked my gauge. I knit the 20-inch size, so the adult small. I have a small head and it does fit me, though it is a little bit on the looser side. I do like a more snug fitting hat. Plus it is very slouchy. I just didn't know how many doodles I needed to do to reach the height I needed. I've been thinking about maybe cutting this middle part out because I did some sparkles, but the contrast is so low. They're not really doing much for me. So I might do some hat surgery, cut those out, and Kitchener the top and bottom half together to make it shorter, and then it would be a more reasonable length. It would still be slightly slouchy, but only like minimally so it might fit my head a lot better. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think I should bother doing that? I mean, if you like a really slouchy hat, this is a really slouchy hat. So I don't think there's a problem with that, but it's definitely not my look. I like something less slouchy. Let me know if you think I should do some hat surgery on it. But again, it is slightly on the looser side. I do like a more snug fitting hat. Maybe I would even need to go down to the child size. I measured my head and it's 21 inches. So having just 1 inch of negative ease is not quite enough for the snugness level I like. Oh well, that's just me learning things from this project. I did something fun with the colors on the brim, and then I picked the fox from the Autumn Doodle deck. I did sparkles and a cauldron from the Spellbound half deck. Yeah, my tension isn't perfect. Some of these cauldrons look better than others. Some of these foxes look better than others. I went and duplicate stitched a little bit of the cauldron bubbling over, and I duplicate stitched the nose, eyes, and ears on the foxes. What I did for that is actually I had the Luke Larson set added on, and I used the black from that. Though it would be really easy to find anything from your stash to duplicate stitch that on, I just felt like this was already handy. I might as well ball this up and use it. So that's what I did. I did end up using basically the entire green mini skein. And then as far as the 50-gram skeins, I used up almost all of the orange, and I have quite a bit of the pink left. So I'm gonna use that if I end up Kitchenering the hat together. I'm really thinking I might do that. I don't know how chaotic I feel today, but I might end up doing that really soon, just to make this more of a wearable hat for me and my tastes. But I absolutely love how the colors work really well together. And this is a fun little palette cleanser of a project, especially doing only 3 doodles. And in retrospect, if I only did 2 doodles, this would have been a really, really quick make. So I definitely recommend. I do like Jamie Lomax's doodle patterns, and I like that you can kind of plug and play between the decks and between the patterns and put them into whatever base pattern. She's got a lot of base patterns in her shops. So I do recommend if you're interested in that. I just wish that some of those doodles had been included within this pattern box in case someone wanted to do that and didn't have the doodles already. But that probably would have made the box a little bit more expensive, but it would have been nice to have it all included. Thank you so much for joining me as I worked through this box and got to open it up, show you all the fun goodies, and share with you my experience of reading this book. Definitely a win. I tend to like the books that Maggie includes in her book boxes. I just think that my reading taste is pretty similar to hers, and so I always have a lot of fun. And more than half the time, I read a book I didn't even know about, and I find I really, really like it. So this one was one I had anticipated, and I'm really glad I got to read it. If you like this type of content and want to see more from me, I've got other book box vlogs here on my channel. And if you know of any book boxes that I have not shared here, any other yarn dyers or anyone like that, let me know down below so I can try out other book boxes as well. And definitely make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification down below to be notified every time I post a new video, because I have quite a few vlogs like this still coming up on my channel, as well as podcasts and reading wrap-ups and things of that variety. And I would love to have you join me here. Thanks again for being here, and until next time, happy reading and happy making. Bye!